Don't tweak my ears at all.
I might have you guys go. Yeah. I'm gonna have
Good morning and welcome to this long-awaited ribbon cutting for the Gloucester Parkway section between Pacific Boulevard and Loudoun County Parkway. Before we have an opportunity to hear from those making remarks this morning, I would like to acknowledge the presence of several elected officials participating in today's event who are collectively responsible for providing this highway section to the citizens of Loudoun County. First, the Chair of the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors, Chair Phyllis Randall. Representing the Broad Run District, Supervisor Ron Meyer. Representing the Ashburn District, Supervisor Ralph Bona. Representing the Algonquian District, Supervisor Suzanne Volpe. Representing the Sterling District on behalf of Supervisor Corinne Saines, Matt Leslie, Julissa Swigert, and Jacqueline Pujol. From the Commonwealth's 13th Senatorial District, Senator Dick Black. From the Virginia House of Delegates, Delegate Randy Minshew. From Virginia's 10th Congressional District, Congresswoman Barbara Comstock. I'd also like to recognize former board members who played a role in this particular project. Former Chairman Scott York. And former Broad Run District Supervisor Jim Bonfeld. There are members of the county staff I'd like to mention. Deputy County Administrator Charles Yudd. Not sure if he arrived yet. Economic Development Director Buddy Reiser. And Public Affairs and Communications Director Glenn Barber. Again, thank you all for coming. My name is Joe Crobeth. I'm the Director of Transportation and Capital Infrastructure for Loudoun County. I would like to invite our first speaker, Chair Phyllis Randall, to the podium. Chair Randall.
Good morning on this nice, cool day. Well, thank you for everyone for coming today. This is such an important project that we are doing right now. You know, the Eastern Transportation Study showed that this road is probably the most important project we have in Loudoun County. Gloucester Road between Loudoun County Parkway and Pacific Boulevard is probably the most important road. And so, you know, we asked why. Why is it an important road? Well, a couple of things. One, it will ease congestion on more than one road. It will ease congestion on 28. It eases congestion on Waxpool. And so it helps with just congestion relief in this area. But also, and people don't think about this, you know, when our EMS and our ambulances, our first responders are trying to get through traffic and they get stuck, that literally means someone's life's in danger. So it's so important that we can open these roads up. You know, I talk a lot about multimodal transportation, and multimodal does not just mean roads. However, when it does mean roads, it should be the right road at the right time and do the most good for the counties, and this one does. In addition to open up congestion relief, it will also offer us some economic development opportunities because people can get to the different locations that they want to attend. You know, this current board has been in office for 7.5 months. Yep. And so it is not correct for anyone to say that this board was the board that accelerated these funds or that got this going. It was the last board, and I want to acknowledge again and thank my predecessor who helped put this together, Mr. Scott York. Working in conjunction, you know, it's so important for a past board and a current board to have the same ideals, to work together, to work collaboratively, and to work interactively between the different districts. It's really important. And so this road and these two boards together have done that. I want to thank the architects. I want to thank the county staff. I want to thank everyone who was involved in this project. It is quite frankly one of the most important road projects that we will see in Loudoun County going forward. It is now my pleasure to introduce my colleague on the board, the youngest person ever elected to the County Board of Supervisors from the Broad Run District, Rob Meyer.
Well, thank you all for being here. You know, in political philosophy, there's always a question that comes up. Who will build the roads? Everyone always asks that, thinking that, you know, basically roads have to be built 100% by the government, and certainly that's our county government's function. But this particular road project really, I think, illustrates how government can partner with private business and and use the creative, proper structure that we have had in the past to do amazing things for our county. You know, Kincora, as you can see by the signage here, was a major player in this. Without, I think, their development application, we'd probably be about 10 years behind on this project. But because of the work of Kincora, the work of Scott York, the work of those who helped fund this, the Virginia Infrastructure Bank, some of these other people, they got together and they got creative and said, this is a project that's vital to Loudoun County. Right now, people are stuck on Waxpool. A lot of people, instead of having to use Waxpool, are paying $6 each way on a toll road. And what is Gloucester going to do? It's going to take 30% of the traffic off of Waxpool Road, meaning that people, instead of having to use the Greenway, can now use Waxpool again, and that people who this is a more direct and quicker route can now use Gloucester. And that's a beautiful thing, that private industry worked with government in a partnership, by the way, and something that we should celebrate, to get something done for the county and the residents and the commuters of Loudoun County. That's a beautiful thing. It's absolutely something that we should be celebrating moving forward with. And this is not only a literal bridge across the Broad Run. For me, as the Broad Run supervisor, this is a bridge to what I always talk about, right? And so Ralph is going to give me a hard time about this, but mentioning Shellhorn Road, this is a bridge to that next project, because this is going to. I'm just saying, because when it comes to people trying to avoid the Greenway, this is going to allow a lot of free. It's going to free up a lot of people to be able to take Waxpool again, and so it's going to allow for more east-west traffic flow while we build Shellhorn, while we go through that process. As many of you know, we were able to, in our first budget of this term, get Shellhorn Road in our capital improvement program. And so we're taking major steps to actually get east-west flow of traffic for Loudoun's commuters, so they can get here, but also, by the way, so people can get to us. You know, it's not just a one-way road. When we have more infrastructure like this, what do we see going around us? We not only Kincora, but you see Ed St. John. You see that big sign going. We having businesses that are being built here, commercial office space being built here, all around this area. Do you think it has nothing to do with Gloucester, with this bridge? It has everything to do with that. When we build more infrastructure, it means more economic development, more jobs, more revenue for the county. And this is what our county is dedicated to doing. I can't say that about all the other localities in the D.C. area. We are still dedicated to building roads. Yes, we are going to go multimodal. Yes, we're going to welcome Metro. But we know we still have to build roads. People are still going to want to use their cars, both to get in and out of Loudoun County. And I know our board is dedicated to making that happen. And because of the vision of the last board, both Chairman York and all the board members that were on it, dedicating tax revenue to transportation has made it an incredible improvement. It allows somebody for me who's been here for, 7 months now, to stand up and be able to do all of these sort of ribbon cuttings. Not just for this, but soon Branch Pkwy, not only connecting over to Whole Foods, but up along here, actually having a complete access road that connects 28, has an access road following 28 up to Route 7. It's something that we should feel blessed about, and something that we should look as a model to continue in Loudoun County's future. So I want to thank everyone in staff, everyone in the private sector, everyone from the investment banks, everyone who came up and made this creative project happen. It's a big day for the county, and something that we should look forward to for more projects like this going forward. Thank you so much.
I'd like to invite Senator Black to the podium to make a few comments.
Thank you very much. There are always the transportation gurus behind the scene who make these things happen. One of those that is just a terrible loss to this county in terms of transportation is Terry Laycock. She has retired, but I tell you what, she has built more roads than any of us have. So course, I think there's always, everything we do, there is the quiet hand of Pacific Blvd, who has built Loudoun County also. So a big hand to Fareed. I got involved in this back in 2012. This has been going for a long time, and Scott York and Mike Scott laid it all out, and this project is a thing of beauty, because always in Ashburn, Waxpool Road is our big challenge. You know, there's a tremendous concentration of population, and there's only so many routes that you can take, and the idea that by bridging this one gap right here, we are able to create another east-west corridor, and we can bleed 30% of the traffic off of Waxpool. That's a huge amount of traffic, and a very wonderful project for us. And additionally, Route 7, which many of us have worked on for as long as we can remember, we're talking about taking 10% off, which may not sound like a great deal, but with all of the work that this board has done and previous boards, I know Scott York has watched these things take place for so many years, and all of those traffic lights are coming off. We just recently approved the intersection at Battlefield and Route 7 that's going to take that light out. And so we're going to have a lot of efficiency on Route 7, and you take 10% more off, and you've got a big improvement. I just like to, I do want to recognize that, you know, with transportation, it's one of these things where you pay it forward. So as Phyllis so graciously mentioned, you're talking about a number of boards of supervisors who have done the hard work, and then, you know, some of us get to stand up and cut a ribbon, but then there'll be things that are done during this board, and years from now somebody else will cut that ribbon. That's kind of the way things work. I do want to just close by mentioning the work of the Economic Development Authority. The financing of this thing was really a thing of beauty, because we're talking about authority to issue bonds up to the amount of $40 million. That was put in motion by the Board of Supervisors. So we started with authority for $40 million, but we only issued $30 million. Project came in way under budget, which is always good. And then Mike Scott was telling me that already on this corner back here, we're doing a data center, and that data center is repaying $8 million of the $30 million. So if you're a banker and you're talking about just completing a project and you get back $8 million of the $30 million that you've loaned, that's pretty darn good. That is pretty good. So anyway, congratulations to everyone who got supporting this. This will be a great project.
Thank you, Senator Black. Before I invite the VDOT representative to the podium for their comments, I would like to acknowledge the great work of several VDOT employees who managed this project. First, the project manager, Tim Hartzell. District Survey Manager Leon Trudel, and the lead from the Structures and Bridge section, Fawaz Sharaf. So now to deliver a message from the Northern Virginia District Office of the Virginia Department of Transportation, representing the District Administrator, Helen Curbo, who could not be with us here this morning, is Virginia Department of Transportation Land Use Director Pacific Blvd.
Thank you. What a nice occasion these ribbon cuttings have been all this year, and we're going to have a few more this year as well. These two more, I know that Shirley is involved in. I want to apologize. Well, Helen Cora wanted to be here. A lot of our CTV members were going to be here. The secretary and the commissioner were hoping to be here, but today happens to be our Commonwealth Transportation Board meeting, so they weren't able to attend. And I have been asked to go ahead and fill in for them. So I'm just going to go ahead and mention a couple of things. One is that, work northeast, is the fact that this bridge is the longest jointless bridge in Virginia. And this is great because not having any joints, it means that this superstructure, especially the bridge deck, can actually last almost 100 years without much maintenance. So that's extremely important, and I wanted you guys to know that. Also, it was mentioned by I guess the senator that the project cost came much under than what originally was actually estimated of $40 million. The other point I want to make is, the cooperation and collaboration between VDOT and the county and the developer and the contractor, and both design contractor and the construction contractor. I want to recognize Mike Post. I want to recognize John Harmon, Jeff Austin, and from Dewberry, I want to also recognize our friend over there, Steve Kuhn. Yes, thank you. We all work together for this project, and this is a good example again of everybody working together, making things happen. And this has been, everybody asks me, when I go and meet, when I go to Richmond, everybody asks me, how are things in Loudoun County? And I tell them, Loudoun County is hot. And it goes pretty much with the weather today, But we are really making things happen here, and I'm grateful as a state employee that everybody's contributing and making things going on. So with that, Joe already thanked a lot of people from VDOT, and I want to also recognize Sina and Ed, who are from our planning section. I don't see anybody else from VDOT here, but I want to thank everybody, and thank again Chairman York for leading this effort, Mike Scott, and others involved in this, and of course Terry Laycock. Thank you.
Thank you, Fareed. As we've heard many speakers indicate, this project is unique in many ways, and specifically it demonstrates a true private-public partnership. As co-developer of the 424-acre Kincora development, Mike Scott negotiated the public-private partnership with the Commonwealth and the county to bring us this significant section of highway. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Mike Scott from Kincora Development.
Thank you, and 100,000 welcomes from Kincora. I'm Mike Scott, of course, and but with me today, I have my co-developer, Dan Coughlin, and our investors are here as well. When this project was approved in 2010, the traditional phased proffer system called for this bridge to be the last in the Gloucester Pacific corridor. It would have been triggered only after Kincora had been substantially built out. That's 6.5 million square feet of development. The fact that we're standing here today rather than a decade from now is a credit to the constructive engagement of a number of individuals and organizations. In fact, the first call I got after our zoning approval was from Scott York, who said, let's get in here and figure out how to get this road built first. The bridge and road link is a tangible result of an unprecedented public-private partnership between Loudoun County, the Commonwealth of Virginia, and Kincora. The alliance was formed to create an innovative response to a significant regional transportation challenge. These parties were able to work together to monetize a portion of the Kincora's future development benefits. today. Together, we created a $76 million financing plan that brings this portion of the road network, encompassing broad run crossings of both Gloucester Parkway here and Pacific on the north, from funding to completion in 3 years. That's a record time for a project of this large magnitude and complexity. Not only that, even before we cut this ribbon in a few minutes, Kincora has repaid $8 million to the Transportation Infrastructure Bank, which now can be used to fund other worthy projects in Virginia. We live in an era where there's a perception that government and the private sector are often working at cross purposes. We at Kincora are thrilled to be part of a solution that proves exactly the opposite. With one exception, the list of individuals responsible is too long to mention here today. However, I would like to thank one person who was instrumental in setting the stage for the collaboration that led to Kincora's rezoning, including the provision of this important transportation network. Former Planning Commissioner Bob Clancher. His public service, guidance, and judgment will have a long-lasting impact on Loudoun County. The organizations responsible for financing and delivering this critical transportation infrastructure at the outset of our development include 3 Loudoun County Board of Supervisors and Planning Commissions, the Loudoun County Department of Economic Development Authority, VDOT, Loudoun's elected representatives who are represented here today, the Commonwealth Transportation Board, the Virginia Transportation Infrastructure Bank, the Virginia Resource Authority, Shirley Contracting, and the Kincora Development Team and their consultants. Please join me in sharing an enthusiastic round of applause for their relentless pursuit of this great project, which will transform the quality of life for those who live, work, and play in Loudoun County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. I'd just like to offer a few additional acknowledgments before we partake in the ribbon cutting ceremony. First, to the staff in the Loudoun County Department of Transportation and Capital Infrastructure, particularly Susan Glass, who's unable to be here today, to work on the project, as well as Terry Laycock, who was mentioned earlier. A tremendous thanks to the design build team of Shirley Contracting, represented by Jeff Austin, Ricky Meyer, Eric Andrews, Kevin Lyons, Todd Keefe, and John Harmon. And Dewberry Consulting Engineers, represented by Steve Coots and Dave Iber. With that, I would like to invite elected officials and any related project stakeholders to participate in the ribbon cutting. You can come forward. We have 15 scissors and about enough room for a total of about 25 to 30 individuals to partake in this ribbon cutting. So please, don't be shy. Please come forward and get in this photo opportunity for this historic event.
That's what I'm gonna do. Oh, pretty good. No. Bill, get in close.
Pretend. Everybody smile, act like you're gonna cut.
Charles Judd. Charles Judd.
Charles, where are you? Is Charles not up here? Is Charles not up here? you should be here. He helped put all this stuff together. So shy.
Glenn, get us around here. Yep, I think we're going to go.
Yeah, that's how you got yours.
Everybody a big smile. Look at the cameras first.
Here comes Charles. Oh, here comes Charles.
Come on, man. Here we go. All right, let's do that again. Look at the cameras, big smile. Look up. All right. On three, you'll cut the rich.
Okay, here we go.